Hello everyone, you're very welcome to this video analysis of the May 2017 operational case study, which focuses on this fictional company of Ashworth Lea. Ashworth Lea is a luxury sports car manufacturer based in Midfield in Mayland. It's a fascinating industry. Before we move on, I should mention a few key points relating to the operational case study. First of all, I would say don't go it alone. The temptation is to just sit down, go through the case, do a little bit perhaps of revision of your E1, P1 and F1 studies, and go in on exam day and hope for the best. What people find is invariably what they get out of this case is what they put in. Prepare well and there should be few surprises. And VIVA Financial Tuition has prepared what we believe is a market-leading pack to walk you through the pre-scene, to provide insight on the industry and to produce very, very authentic mock exams with model solutions. We're very proud of our OCS Smarter Study packs, and the feedback has been terrific. We launched with the February 2017 packs, and based on the feedback of students, we received a 4.5 out of 5 student rating for overall satisfaction with our case study materials. And that compared with a 3.5 out of 5 rating given to other providers by our students. So we encourage you to go along to the website www.vivatuition.com and check out our unbeatable case study offers for the May 2017 exams. A clear understanding of the pre-scene and the industry key facts and figures, coupled with practicing the mock exams under exam timing conditions, are what will see you through this exam. So a little bit more about the VIVA Financial Tuition package. First of all, there is a pre-scene video analysis of the case. It runs to about 2.5 hours where we walk you through each and every section, highlighting the key facts and figures and drawing some key conclusions to help you really understand this case inside out. You'll also have an annotated pre-scene analysis provided with all of the main points we bring up during the video analysis annotated on the pre-scene document itself. Secondly, there's a summary document outlining the main pre-scene issues. This is a page-by-page highlights document based on the pre-scene, culminating in a SWOT analysis of Ashworth Lea. The SWOT is a very useful tool for analysing the case and analysing the company that the case is based on, and it will help you summarise your thoughts around the company and perhaps anticipate some likely exam issues as well. The examiners like to focus on the opportunities and threats in particular relating to the company. There's a financial analysis and ratios document as well, which is also annotated based on the financial statements coming from the pre-scene materials, as well as percentage analysis and ratio analysis of those numbers. So we really clarify the numbers and explain what they mean. The fourth element in the VIVA Financial Tuition package is 50 plus short questions and answers based on the pre-scene and based on the industry. This makes sure that you really know the key points inside out before you go into the exam. The fifth element then are the mock exams. You get 3 mock exams that are very, very close to the real thing. We weight these exams in exactly the same way as CIMA does. They have the same weightings across the technical, business, leadership and people skills that you're meant to demonstrate in these exams, and that they also draw on the themes and topics that tend to come up more frequently in these exams. You'll also have model test answers where you'll have a good idea of what it takes to answer these questions in the correct way. And finally then, there's an industry overview video of about an hour which highlights the most useful facts and figures. We've done extensive analysis on this industry. It's something for sure you could do yourself, but it would take you many, many hours to dig out all of the information. And this really sheds some light in the industry. The industry is really important to understand it because you're meant to understand this business. And if you don't understand the industry within which this business is located, you really don't understand your business well enough. And how can you be expected to advise senior members of staff on the business if you don't understand the industry well enough? So again, as I said, go along to www.vivatuition.com and check out our offers for the May 2017 operational case study. The May 2017 operational case study is based on a fictional company named Ashworth Lea, which is a luxury sports car manufacturer. It bears a striking resemblance to Aston Martin. Aston Martin is a very high-end car manufacturer. You can see the image there of a red, racy, prestige motor vehicle. And it's a really interesting industry. It's a really interesting case. When we look at the table of contents, it's striking that it's quite a lean case that CIMA has provided. Usually these cases run to 24, 25, 26 pages. So you might think, oh, that's great, I have less to read. When in fact, I would say that the downside is CIMA, they're not giving much away here. They're leaving this case really open. They can ask absolutely anything on exam day. And then even looking within the different sections in the table of contents, the job description is usually very short. The organization chart for Ashworth Lea and the senior staff profiles, in fact, are also very low on detail. There isn't much to draw from those. The tax regime in mainland is kind of a standard tax regime that CIMA likes to include in these cases. And then there's only one news article. So they're not giving much away. It's really very open-ended. When we look at the job description, you are a finance officer at Ashworth Lea. So you're pretty low down the pecking order. But if you play your cards right, in this case, you will be graduating to management level pretty soon for the next case. And things start to get interesting at that level because you're more involved with strategic decisions and some of the big decisions that really move a company forward or backwards. So as a finance officer at Ashworth Lea, you're going to be supporting the key decision makers. Principally, you're going to be dealing with finance colleagues, the finance director, other senior finance officers. You as a finance officer are going to be involved in the execution of daily tasks and supporting the people above you. Be careful with the terminology you use depending on who you're interacting with. So if you're dealing with a fellow finance colleague, it's fine to use financial jargon. If you're dealing with a marketing director, you need to unpack some of that financial jargon, explain certain terms to your non-finance colleagues. So bear that in mind. You're going to be involved in three main areas: the production of annual budgets, the production of monthly management accounts, and you're providing information to management. The annual budget features in this case. We'll see that later on. CIMA includes some additional information on what it is that goes into the finance officer role for this operational case study, and some of the key areas that are examined are the ones that we highlight here. Above all, these are areas with a short-term focus. You're talking about daily tasks, you're talking about decisions that matter for the coming months and up to 1 year short-term. Costing is a key issue at this level. Of course, you're talking there about activity-based costing versus more traditional forms of costing like absorption costing, etc. Variance analysis can be important too. It comes up quite frequently in these exams. You might be given, for example, a sales variance report to comment on, where you're comparing actual sales versus standards that were set, and you have to comment on the deviations. Working capital management is interesting for this case because the cash conversion cycle, which we will see later on, which takes into account the accounts receivable, the accounts payable and inventory figures, the cash conversion cycle for Ashworth Lea is in fact negative. In general, the lower the better, and a negative cash conversion cycle is in fact usually very desirable, and I will explain why when we come to the financial statements for this company. Other important areas at this level are cash management and risk in the short term. Above all, I would say this is a practical exam, so please do remember that you've covered the theory during your E1, P1 and F1 exams. This is all about the application of theory. You don't need to list in detail the ins and outs of theories and the ins and outs of financial reporting standards, etc. For the case study exam, it's all about the practical application of the theory you know, and it's all about applying what you know to this company and this industry. It's important to point out also that technical skills are the skills that really matter for this exam. They cover 64% of the marks that are allocated. But do remember, it's about the application of theory and not the exposition of theory itself. So now we're going to look at the company background. We're first told that Ashworth Lea is a high quality, prestigious motor car manufacturer. So when we're talking about prestige here, the strategy that we associate with this is one of a premium price coupled with low volume production, which is indeed what we see with Ashworth Lea. We'll see some budgeted unit sales figures later on. So this company was founded over 100 years ago in the early part of the 20th century by two friends, Robert Ashworth and Andrew Lea. The production plant is located in Midfield, a town in the country of this fictional country of Mayland. There are many similarities, as I touched upon before, with the real-life manufacturer Aston Martin. So when you look at the numbers for Aston Martin, the sales prices are very similar to the ones that were quoted for Ashworth Lea. The employee numbers are similar. The revenue and profit figures are very strikingly similar. And the number of car units produced are also similar. Aston Martin is a luxury sports vehicle manufacturer based in Middle England as well. We cannot assume that Mayland is England, or is indeed even similar to England, but it's just worth drawing the comparison, and there are, as I said, many striking similarities with Aston Martin. Robert Ashworth then was a railway engineer by profession. He noticed that the motor car was becoming a very popular means of transport, and so went into the engineering and production of cars. And he established a reputation for high quality vehicles. They were well engineered, well made, they were very reliable. So practicality was at the forefront of the production methods in the early part of the 20th century. This is the basis of the company's solid engineering. The other element that is crucial to this company is in the paragraph we see underneath, the promotion and selling part of the equation. So this is when his friend Andrew Lea, who has a background not in engineering but in pharmaceutical sales, he comes on the scene, and he recognizes an opportunity to really sell the brand, to sell the idea of prestige. So before, these are practical, functional vehicles admired for their engineering. Andrew recognizes that they're going to try and push this as a prestige vehicle. So the basis of this company is solid engineering and selling exclusivity. Two steps there. When we move on, we see reference again to the strategy, premium price coupled with low volume. We see later on in the case that the budgeted production units for 2017 are 6,045 units to be sold. That's the estimate for Ashworth Lea. If you look at a manufacturer like Aston Martin, they're turning out about 5,000 cars a year. Compare that then to a mainstream company like Toyota. and they churn out 17 million units a year. So, I mean, there is a world of difference in terms of the